Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for listening to the 250th ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the MSP studio in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How are you doing today, Kyle?
I'm doing great, Cameron. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I've been listening to a lot of music lately.
Really?
Yeah. Would you say that listening to music is a hobby of yours?
That's a great question. Would that be like a little elitist if I said yes?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out, basically.
I would say like 75% yes.
Yeah. So, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been interested in this specific time frame of music where like 1950s blues sort of turns into blues rock and like psychedelic rock and metal and stuff like that. It's kind of a like
Little
late 60s, early 70s, just sort of like
little Black Sabbath, maybe?
yes, Black Sabbath. Who else? Cream. A lot of that type of stuff. The
Cool.
Beatles in there a little bit.
Yeah, you've been on a Beatles kick for sure.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. The Beatles with their like blues influences got my head spinning a little bit and was like, oh, okay, got the wheels turning. Oh, there's something here. I never realized before how much the like classic blues has influenced like all of popular music in the United States.
It's true.
So I'm actually making a playlist that is like sort of all that area of that time frame of music.
We're going to need to get our hands on that.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. I'm still working on it. That's what I've been doing. So yeah, that's what got me thinking like, I guess music, yeah, at this point, I would say music's a hobby of
I would say that what you just described is very much sounds like a hobby to me.
yeah,
You're
okay.
taking it seriously.
Yeah. I'm a serious music listener.
You're exploring.
I don't mess
music.
around anymore.
No.
Listening to music,
don't-
a great activity for when you have a 1-year-old
Yeah.
because if I try to watch anything I want to watch on TV, she says, TV off. She says, Mulan. Like, okay.
That's a great movie, too.
You win. Yeah, agree.
Great music on that.
Yeah, she's got good taste. What can I say? I choose what goes on the TV, so.
You raised her right.
All right, so what are we talking about today? The main thing we want to talk about is football recruiting. There is a big visit weekend happening. We'll get into that a little bit later, but that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to talk about NBA draft a little bit. Before we get into all that, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, leave us a review wherever you listen to us, and of course, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Missouri Sports Pod. Before we get to the football recruiting, the meat of the episode, there's a thing going around on Twitter and we talked about it in Discord, but you get 100 points to assign to your favorite teams. Like, how would you describe this in order of?
Yeah, kind of allocate points to how much of a fan you are,
Yeah.
how passionate you are about certain sports teams.
Yeah, and I kind of realized like some people in Discord mentioned like St. Louis Cardinals, and I realized that like baseball, I've talked about it before, has fallen off the map so much for me that I would not give baseball a single point at this time in my life, where like maybe 10 years ago, probably giving the Cardinals like 40 points maybe. It'd be like
out of 100, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
honestly, I probably when I was a kid, I would have said Cardinals like 80 out of 100.
yeah. But I thought maybe we could talk about that a little bit because it's interesting to me how people decide between Mizzou football and Mizzou basketball. And I think I said in Discord like 42-39 Mizzou basketball, 42 Mizzou football, 39, and then whatever was left I put on the Carolina Panthers. I was trying to do it like objectively, like any given year, like not depending too much on how good the teams are.
Or what time of the year it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think I would be heavily influenced by maybe what time of the year it is. And also, yeah, if the teams are good, that totally makes a difference. But I really couldn't decide. I kind of I don't know. I guess I kind of wimped out on having a hot take, but I went just straight 40 and 40 for Mizzou football and Mizzou basketball. I just couldn't decide. And then I did 20 for the Chiefs. However, we're getting to the time of year where it's like Mizzou football is pretty amplified in my mind because it's just been a long, just devastatingly painful off season of nothingness. And I'm ready for some competition in my life. I'm ready to just see who trots out there.
And you still got a ways to
quarterback.
go.
And
so,
we have, yes, exactly. Yeah. Like I don't want to get myself too excited because we still have a lot of pain left before we get to, the beginning of September. But yeah, when it's like, middle of July through beginning of September, Mizzou football, it's probably amped up to more like 60 or something in my mind.
Well, and you brought up a good point is like that doesn't exist for basketball because you are just like locked in.
I'm already like satiated with all this other like
the football
content.
season is happening and then basketball is just like, oh yeah, and here we are too.
Yeah,
it's like,
a
okay,
nice bonus.
even more. Yeah. If it was the other way around, then yeah, just be that pain would be more associated with basketball. But I was also thinking about which team would be more fun to watch, like achieve the highest possible or like the best season possible. It's like which would Mizzou football or Mizzou basketball be more fun to watch win a national championship?
Oh man, I don't know. It's like if you're just asking me, if we're just watching the championship game right now, I'd probably pick Mizzou football. I think that would be more meaningful to the university, like financially, which is a weird thing to say right off the bat as my first response. But I think it would be more meaningful for like the larger scope of like fandom in sports,
like the future of the program.
Yes, and that would just be really, really cool to see. But if you're talking about we get to watch the whole run happen, like a March Madness run would be pretty hard to decline.
Yeah. I think I still just give a slight edge just from just the sports. I give a slight edge to basketball over football.
Yeah.
As far as my personal preference. And so watching my favorite basketball team go on a run like that in a single elimination tournament would be pretty incredible.
Some serious adrenaline right there.
Yeah. And it doesn't really matter how you do it. Like if you're a top seed, if you're an underdog and you make a deep run in March Madness, it doesn't matter. Like it's incredible.
Not much tops that.
And there's so many different ways you could do a football run, especially when they go to a 12-team playoff. But you're getting closer to that March Madness feeling.
Right.
Except you have buys and everything.
Yeah, I mean, Missouri's Elite Eight run in whatever that would have been, 2008 or 2009 or something. I mean, I think that I would have been in middle school at the time. I think that was honestly one thing that really got me into Mizzou sports. I was already a kind of a casual fan, just observing Missouri sports, but I think that was something that I kind of raised my eyebrows, like, oh, okay, wow, this is really, really fun to keep track of.
Yeah, absolutely. That same exact situation for me where I knew about the team a little bit, and then that run got me into it, got me interested in recruiting and all that sort of stuff. Really fun. So, yeah, the Panthers winning the Super Bowl would be pretty incredible, but that doesn't really come close to the Mizzou teams, honestly. Also, the NBA draft is happening right now. Leave us a comment with your 100 points distributed amongst your various fandoms.
Yeah, it can be as many teams as you want to squeeze in there.
Yeah.
I thought about the
Cardinals. I
Cardinals.
only have time for 3.
I thought about giving like 5 to the Cardinals, but I decided it would just be simpler to not, and I just really probably don't care that much in comparison.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So the first round of the NBA draft is underway. The Spurs picked Victor. I'm not even going to try to say his last name. Sorry.
I was kind of surprised you went there.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. Brandon Miller went second. And this draft is going to have a lot of Alabama and Arkansas players in it. Does that make you feel a certain way?
No, I'm glad they're gone.
Yeah. There's something about, like, do you feel like with Dennis Gates, we're trying to, let me start over. If you were an Arkansas or Alabama fan, do you recognize that your coach is kind of like not Do you kind of recognize that he's a little bit of a slime ball? And
Are you asking me if I'm an Arkansas or
Arkansas
Alabama fan?
and Alabama fans out there that exist in this actual world.
If you're asking me, yes, I probably realize that. If you're asking most of their fans, they probably don't care. They probably don't. Probably not.
So then you, Kyle,
I was very like egotistical, like
since you're like
self-awareness.
such an enlightened sports fan and you can like just really, understand the head coaches and like internalize all that.
I hate myself for saying that.
Would that make it harder for you to root for the team? Like with Dennis Gates, we kind of get the best of both worlds where like we think he's really got it together as a coach.
Yeah.
And just like so far spotless, clean record, does everything right.
No, because I'm a fan of the team, and like I want the best for the team and the coach. Obviously, I want to root for the coach. I want to be a fan of the coach, but that's a temporary asset. In like, I'm still going to be a fan well after the coach is gone. So I guess I would just say I would be forced to have to just look the other way to some extent, unless it's like terrible things. If you're talking about Eric Musselman's like kind of annoying,
Yeah.
and he's just kind of a tool, then yes, obviously I can look the other way on something like that
Yeah.
to just keep being a fan of my team.
Yeah. So, wow, you're just really coming at this from an understanding approach. You can't even blame the fans of these programs that much.
I don't know.
But from the outside, it
Doesn't mean I don't like it.
it makes it easier to hate them.
Yes.
As an opposing
exactly.
fan.
And yeah, when I have
And
Dennis Gates as my coach, then I can
And when it
still
comes down to it, that's kind of all you really need.
Yeah.
Is like, it's actually more frustrating when the opposing rival or the other good teams in the conference have like a likable coach.
Yeah.
That's actually worse.
Yeah.
Okay. Give us somebody that we can hate.
Yeah.
I'm glad we figured that out. Where's Kobe Brown going to be drafted?
I don't know. It's been all over the place, and I actually pulled up a tweet that kind of just erased everything that I thought even previously. But I was thinking maybe like mid-second round. What that would be like 40-ish, 40 to 45. I would have guessed before today. And not that this tweet is the end all be all, but at Jake Weingarten on Twitter says, two guys I'm hearing that are potential board jumpers in tonight's draft. Indiana's Trace Jackson Davis and Missouri's Kobe Brown both have done well in the pre-draft process and are seen as guys who can rise this evening. So I don't know I don't really know where the baseline would have been before the rise.
I think what you were saying, like mid-second round, 40 to 45.
I don't think there's any way he slips into the first round or anything like that. I just think that generally he's just a little bit too much of a tweener potentially to be in the first round. Just especially like defensively, but
Yeah.
I think it'll be. I don't think he'll go past the middle of the second.
I agree with you there. I forgot I need to give like 5 points to the Indiana Pacers in my 100.
You have to?
Fandom points. I need to.
Okay.
I need that.
They've
I
earned
need
that?
them to know that I'm there for them when they want to be serious about winning again.
Which will be
After maybe they draft Kobe Brown, 32nd overall, second pick of the second round.
They have 3 first-round picks, too.
I don't think they'll pick him in the first. It could be maybe 29 though, very end of the
they
first
have
round.
3 first. Are they ready to be serious?
I mean, if they're serious, then package those picks to go get a star or something.
That's true. In NBA, you can just get like one good player on your team and it like changes everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind needing a reason to turn on Indiana Pacers basketball. It was fun, in like 2013, 2014 with Paul George. Give me number 32 pick, Kobe Brown to the Indiana Pacers.
That would be awesome. Probably not going to happen.
Denver's sitting there at 40.
That
Mizzou connection.
could happen.
I could see that.
Michael Porter Jr. won a national championship.
NBA championship?
What did I say?
National championship?
It is.
Yeah, I guess it is.
But
World championship, they call it, I think.
even international championship,
Yeah.
with Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, we talked about
probably
that last
talked
week.
about that,
Yeah.
Old news.
Yeah, he played bad in the finals. We
Yeah,
talked
we
about that. He's like barely even Mizzou made. Fake Mizzou made, some people say. I don't say it. Some people do.
That'd be a good like debate. I bet there'd be some strong feelings about that.
Well, Am I wrong that the strong feelings are probably only going to come from the not Mizzou made side? I'm saying Michael Porter Mizzou made because why not?
But yeah, you're not like you're not like that.
No.
Like
I'm just like, yeah, let's just
Okay.
we just give him that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It was fun for a while.
He decided to come to Missouri
That is the important
with
thing.
the intention of playing, and it didn't work out.
Yeah. All right. Before we lose everybody, let's move on to football recruiting
Sounds good.
because that is a juicy topic. And to set the stage here a little bit, Missouri's 2024 class only has 3 commits as of right now. Offensive lineman Ryan Justice, tight end Whit Hafer, and quarterback Aiden Glover. So only 2 commits right now. It's a little worrisome. State of Missouri, we're going to talk about that a little bit.
3 commits.
It's, what did I say?
2.
3
But
commits.
But it was 2 commits before like last week.
That's true. We swapped quarterbacks.
Yeah, we did.
And so the prospects in the state of Missouri are very good. It's an excellent in-state opportunity here.
Yeah, it's super top heavy class.
We'll talk about that a little bit. And this weekend, there is a recruiting event on campus. A lot of players are visiting. Unfortunately, though, it's been very quiet. No public information really about who's going to be attending, if it sounds like anybody's going to be, if they're expecting commits.
Yeah.
It's been very quiet. This time last year, it was a very publicized, the summit event that was happening that we covered and talked about.
They've done like Night at the Zoo in the
Yes.
past and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been
There's a handful of guys every year that are like on commitment watch, all of that sort of thing. Not very much of that for this event to be happening tomorrow.
Yeah, and they're like, the one thing that I have seen about it on Twitter is they're kind of coining it like a gold rush or something like that. So there's been a few graphics that have come out about like gold rush. So I guess they want just like, I don't know if that's going to be like the coaching staff's all. I don't really know how you do gold rush without like a crowd
Yeah.
or whatever. But maybe this something about the whole town of Columbia.
Maybe they're gonna like take pictures with like big gold chains or something.
There you go.
Just gold themed everything. I don't know. So how we're gonna go about this, since we don't know exactly who's gonna be there, there's maybe 1 or 2 guys that we know are in Columbia for the weekend, but we're just gonna run through a good number of guys that Missouri is in on for 2024. Sort of if there's any hints out there to Missouri's standing with some of these guys, some of the big names, who else might be involved in their recruitment, and we'll mention if we know anything specific about anybody. But Kyle, take it away. Give me any order you want to go in. We'll talk about a few of these guys.
Yeah. Before we jump into the 2024 class, I did kind of want to mention a grad transfer that Missouri offered in the last few weeks. His name is Justin Sambu, and he's a grad transfer defensive lineman from Maine. And I don't really know that much has come out other than that Missouri offered him, but I think that's a little telling because I think that he would be able to join the team immediately if he were to commit. So kind of a late transfer addition, but a little telling and something that isn't shocking whatsoever that Missouri is kind of just put some guys out there on the defensive line and kind of see what sticks. Obviously, we lost Isaiah McGuire, we lost Coleman, so it's gonna be interesting, and we'll talk about that in the coming weeks for sure as we gear up for the season. But I think that was maybe a little bit telling there, that Missouri's still looking for another body or two for the defensive line going into this season.
I'll mention On3 Recruiting. On their website, they've got it basically 50-50 between Mizzou and Mississippi State.
Okay.
For him.
Okay. All right. So like you mentioned, like everything's pretty tight-lipped right now. We don't really know exact visit dates for a lot of these guys, but most of them have either visited at least once or have said they will visit in the future. I would just kind of consider all of these guys that are guys that Missouri's in on, and some of them I think are more likely to maybe join the class than others. But we'll start at the top. And it's a guy that we do know for sure is on campus this weekend, and that is 5-star defensive end Williams Winery.
He posted a Instagram story or something of him in his hotel room, and it was covered in Mizzou stuff. So he's confirmed he's in town.
Exactly. So Winery is the number 3 overall player in 2024. So we're talking about Luther Burden level recruit here.
Yeah.
5-star guy.
A guy that would almost immediately be in like the top 5 players to ever commit to Mizzou.
Yes.
if he did that.
And in a position where it's a little bit of a premium position. So I think some positions on the field are hard. Like whenever you find a stud at defensive end, it just makes a huge difference. So like Winery is 6'6". He's super long. He's really athletic. He's everything you want in a defensive end. It's going to be really, really hard for Missouri to have a shot here. I don't know that they really do have much of a shot, but he's playing nice at least, and he's taken a couple visits, and so he's given Missouri their chance to give their pitch. That's for sure. But he will also visit Georgia this weekend. So once he finishes up at Mizzou, he'll head to Athens, where I think is probably a little bit more likely for him to end up there. But, you never say never.
24/7 Sports has Missouri in with 4 other schools as being warm. And so, like, they're in at least 24/7 Sports believes that they're one of the top programs to land him. Also on that list is Oklahoma, Oregon, Tennessee, and obviously Georgia. And there's one prediction on 24/7 Sports, one crystal ball prediction for Oklahoma so far.
Okay. To some extent, do you just want all these types of guys to just end up at the same place? In some ways, do you just want them all to end up at Georgia and Alabama?
Maybe.
It's it's like kind of destroying the sport, and also, I mean, that's a little strong, but also, like, I don't want him to go to Oklahoma or something either. Like somebody that I feel like we have a shot at winning against year in and year out. Like, I'd rather him just not go there.
I mean, I don't have anything to argue against that. It just seems like it's lose-lose. It's not good.
Not good.
No matter what.
Is that too harsh that Georgia and Alabama are destroying the sport?
That the argument can be made.
It's just like,
Well,
why even play the games?
They're
almost?
just taking advantage of the system that's in place.
I suppose. Yeah, they're not doing anything wrong necessarily. Well, they probably are.
They're taking advantage of a system that's built for them to succeed,
yes.
and probably cheating a little bit also.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, let's move on to Ryan Wingo. Another just absolute stud, 5-star guy from St. Louis. And
without looking, would probably be a top 10 guy in the history of Mizzou football.
Up there for sure. I think Missouri's got a little bit better shot here. I still don't know that it's going to happen, but he's visited Missouri so many times. His brother played football at Missouri in the Drew Lock era. There's definitely some family ties to Missouri, and seems like he's generally interested. But Georgia, Michigan, Texas, there's more of the big schools involved for sure. So, but I believe we've confirmed also that he's on campus this weekend.
Ryan Wingo is incredible. I was watching some of his highlights, and it's like they're basically Luther Burden highlights, but Wingo is 3 inches taller. So he is special. He has like the prototypical like number 1 wide receiver in the NFL type build and like athletic profile. Mm-hmm. There was, clips of him taking a screen pass to the house, returning punts for touchdowns, and also just like going up and getting a ball in the end zone, coming down with it for a touchdown.
Yeah. He's
just
a little bit
everything.
More of a speedster than Burden probably. Would you say that's accurate?
I mean, they're both fast enough for me.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how his brother was. His brother was a speed guy.
And he's, 6'2", 205 is what he's listed on 24/7 Sports, and that's just ideal everything.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Luther Burden is very fast and can obviously play the vertical game, but I think that he's at his best in more of that kind of possession kind of slot role. But Wingo is incredible. it would be so awesome to land him. Yeah, but it's just gonna be
It would
a
make
long
life
fight.
a lot easier for whoever the Mizzou quarterback is.
For sure. And, speaking of Luther Burden, I think Luther Burden's NIL stuff is really helpful, though, with Missouri's pursuit of Wingo. I think that there's like, hey, this is real.
Yeah.
This is somebody that's basically was in your shoes a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It's worked out really well. Somebody who had a great freshman year and probably making a lot of money, like with actual NIL deals.
Right.
Like, we're not just
It's not hypothetical.
We're not just funneling money. Maybe they prefer that. I don't know. But he's like actually getting some like kind of cool NIL opportunities where he's like in advertisements and stuff like that.
Big brands. He just had the brand deal come out with Emo's Pizza.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a St. Louis brand. So
yeah,
Ryan Wingo is definitely going to be aware of that.
Yeah, that's the best pitch that Missouri can give right now to Ryan Wingo.
We need Luther Burden to add a clause in his NIL deals that if you do business with me, you can only do other business with Mizzou players.
Ryan Wingo specifically.
I would literally die if
Mizzou recruits.
I would not literally die if Ryan Wingo went to like Tennessee or Georgia and still got brand deals with like St. Louis companies.
You know what, Cameron? That's not something I thought about until you said that.
Surely
not.
That's what I'm saying. You need to get these things on paper. That would ruin their chances of. I don't know.
Who's got the leverage in the situation?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it Mizzou or is it the companies?
Oof, I don't know.
Ugh. All right. Okay, let's move on to James Madison. He's a guy that we know for a fact visited 2 weeks ago. He took to Twitter after his visit and was very vocal, very, very, very pro Missouri. But Madison is a 6'4", 4-star wide receiver. He's originally from Kansas City, but he is attending St. Thomas Aquinas in Florida. So he isn't currently in Missouri, but kind of still maybe kind of a Missouri guy.
Father of the Constitution also.
Yes, really important legislation has, really
historically significant.
A political figure,
yes.
Absolutely. Legislation, that was like my description of, some of those big words.
James Madison.
James Madison.
He's in Florida now, right?
Yeah.
Florida State has offered him.
Yes. But a lot of people would theorize that he might be a silent commit to Missouri. I think he's announcing it maybe that first week of July, maybe even on the 4th. I'm not sure. But,
that'd be fitting.
If you look at his Twitter, it's like there's no way this guy isn't committed or isn't going to be soon because he was like recruiting other players to Missouri and stuff like that. So if that's really what happens, if that's really the case, that's going to be a fantastic pickup.
Yeah, he's already doing the work.
Yeah, he is. Let's see. Another guy that Missouri's in on is Kavion Broussard. He's a offensive tackle from Louisiana. I think Florida State and Mizzou are maybe the two players here. He's 6'6". That would be a great get. Anything else to add there?
No.
Let's talk about Gavin Hoffman. He is a tight end from Blue Valley Northwest in Kansas. He is a Mizzou legacy. And I think Missouri offered him pretty early, but he really has kind of started getting a lot more attention. I think Iowa has been on him.
Arizona State offer.
Arizona State.
Arkansas offer.
So definitely garnering some regional attention for sure. Missouri already has a tight end in this class, and that's Ryan Justice. Or is it Whit Hafer? I get them confused. One of those guys is a tight end, but I don't think Missouri is necessarily too overwhelmed by either one of them so far. One's a tight end, one's an offensive lineman.
Whit Hafer, tight end.
Okay. I think Gavin Hoffman projects to be a little bit better receiving tight end probably. So I definitely think they'd take them both. So that's
especially considering no tight end has done much in a little while. Yes. Keep bringing them in until somebody does something.
Keep bringing them in. Yeah, Missouri's tight ends since like Alberto have basically been nothing. So that's definitely a name to keep an eye on for sure. A guy I like quite a bit. All right, so we got Dre Kirkpatrick. He's a defensive back, probably a safety from Alabama. he's kind of an interesting guy because he's taken some visits to some really big schools. I'm not really sure exactly which offers are committable, but he's taken visits to Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, as well as Missouri. So
Dre Kirkpatrick.
Kirkpatrick.
Dre Kirkpatrick is already a football player.
Yes, he is.
We
We got another James Madison situation here.
This is Dre Kirkpatrick Jr., I'm guessing. Dre Kirkpatrick is in the NFL right now, is he not?
I don't know. Sounds like you're onto something.
Could a current NFL player already have a son that's going to college?
Probably not. Maybe. Frank Gore.
Maybe this guy's already out of the... He is a free agent, so you could say
Okay.
retired. He's 33 years old, so yeah, I guess... Does that add up? Okay, 24/7 Sports, Dre Kirkpatrick Jr. Yeah.
So there's two of them.
Yeah.
One's
They got to be related. But yeah, this guy, they're both from Alabama.
They're both from Alabama.
Yeah, the older one went to Alabama. They got to be related. They got to be father and son.
Wow.
Do the math. Does that actually add up? Doesn't matter.
It's close. It might be possible.
So he could go to Alabama if he wants, I'm guessing, regardless of
Are you
stars.
saying they're going to honor the legacy no matter what?
I think so. Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
Seems unlikely then.
but then if he comes to Mizzou, then we beat out Alabama for him.
That's true.
If he's like, yeah, you could go to Alabama, but you're probably not going to play, but you can be on the team because
Yeah.
of the legacy.
We could be looking at that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Carry on. Sorry.
That's fine. That was it. Jeremiah Beasley. So there's a little bit of a common theme here. I think I have like 3 different linebackers that I wrote down, at least 2 for sure. It does seem like Missouri's kind of looking to restock on linebackers a little bit, and there's some impressive prospects here. Jeremiah Beasley, he's a 4-star linebacker from Belleville, Michigan. I do think it's going to be very tough to pull him out of Michigan. He does have an offer from them, so that's probably going to be the destination, but Missouri will still try their best. A guy that's probably a little bit better chance of ending up at Missouri is Brian Huff. He's an outside linebacker from Jonesboro, Arkansas. He's a 4-star, 6'3", long arms, really athletic prospect that I like a lot. But I don't want to compliment him too much yet because I think he could probably end up at Arkansas.
He does have a crystal ball prediction to Arkansas.
It does seem like a Missouri-Arkansas battle probably for Brian Huff. So even if he doesn't...
We're either going to love him or hate him.
Basically, yeah. So I don't want to say anything, I don't want this to be like a Connor Vanover situation where, there might be some bad stuff out there, but...
You might have some takes that you have to walk back.
Yeah. So those are 2 pretty impressive linebacker prospects. Unfortunately, I don't know that Missouri will land either of them, but clearly that is a type of recruit that they're going after right now. Cole McConaughey is a 6'5" defensive end from Alabama. I believe that both Rivals and 24/7 like him to Missouri at the moment, at least. So I think like I said, a lot of these guys are either visiting this weekend or have visited recently. So Missouri's very involved. A guy you mentioned was Johan Cardenas from Houston, Texas, as a running back.
Crystal ball to Texas Tech, but 24/7 Sports thinks Missouri's in on him, and there's some mutual interest there.
Okay. Keep in mind, these are all just names to kind of familiarize yourself with. They might end up being something. You might never hear about them again.
Very speculative at this point.
Okay, here's another linebacker. Justin Logan is an inside linebacker from Georgia. I don't know if Georgia is on him currently, but I think he is a 4-star prospect. Either way, Chad Bailey is graduating this year, even if I think he is in his final year no matter what. So looking to restock there. Joseph Dodds is a running back from Texas. Looks like a 3-team race with Baylor, Missouri, and Texas Tech. And I think that's all I got. I think that's all the names that I wrote down.
Did you mention Kenyon Kelly?
No, I did not.
Shoot, I had it here. He is a safety out of Denison, Texas. Kind of interesting thing here. Crystal ball is to University of Texas, San Antonio, but he has an offer from Missouri and Arkansas. He is scheduled to commit July 2nd. And that's just kind of an interesting one there. Like Texas, San Antonio, or SEC team.
Yeah, it's like we definitely get to that point in the recruiting cycle where it's like, Missouri's looking to kind of round out the class or whatever, and they're looking at guys, those kind of lower tier prospects, I guess you could say, that they're that they think are underrated. Looking for those diamonds in the rough. Seems like one of those kind of situations where, is he a take right now? Do they feel that strongly? And why has nobody else figured it out yet?
Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of names there to maybe look up and start to familiarize yourself with.
A lot of defense.
Yeah. Yeah, can't blame them there. I got to mention, though, just looking at this state of Missouri ranking on 24/7 Sports, I'm just to run you through, so like the top 5 right now. Waneri, crystal ball to Oklahoma. Wingo, crystal ball to Georgia, and also Tennessee fans like where they are with him. And plenty of Mizzou fans. I mean, I kind of like where Mizzou is for Wingo, honestly. So that's a tricky one. But number 3 player in the state, Jaden Riddell, a tight end, already committed to Georgia. Number 4 player in the state, Jeremiah McClellan, crystal ball to Ohio State. I don't think he has any interest in coming to Mizzou. Number 5 player in the state, Andrew Sprague, just committed to Michigan recently. Number 6 player, Aeneas Williams, committed to Notre Dame. Number 7 to UNLV. Number 8 to Tennessee. And I'm going to stop there because this is not fun anymore.
What is Tion Gray? Is that the guy?
Number 10 committed to Oregon.
Was committed to Missouri and flipped to Oregon fairly recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of the names that you just rattled off are obviously from out of state.
Yeah.
So there's some guys from out of state that are in that, if you brought them over to the state of Missouri, they'd be right in there in that top 10 range that Missouri's still in on. And it really, obviously, follow me here for a sec, going way back to like Gary Pinkel days, we're getting our guys that we need to get from the state of Missouri for the most part, hitting on some guys in state, but really just mining Texas for these overlooked, under-recruited prospects that you can bring in and develop. And I got to say, it really seems like Drinkwitz is serious about making that a part of the plan. It's not Texas anymore. It's more the SEC footprint with like the Carolinas and Florida and Alabama. But I can't complain too much about the strategy. If this recruiting class is the worst yet, then obviously it's concerning that we didn't get a few more of these in-state guys. But if we're getting 2 maybe of the top 15, top 10, and supplementing with a handful of 4-star guys from out of state, I can't complain because it's worked okay so far.
Yeah. That's an uphill climb that Missouri, whoever the coach is of Missouri football, is going to have that challenge year in and year out. It's like rocket science. I don't understand it. It's like we're just a kind of a fractured state where, I don't know, we just don't pull guys from the state of Missouri like it feels like we should. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, the Missouri brand just doesn't quite have the influence that it feels like we should, that maybe other states around us have. And, both of our big cities are like on the borderlines of the east and west of our state. I don't know. It's just geographically, it's interesting, and it's a little bit of a fractured state. And so that leads to challenges in recruiting, and I think it's always going to be that way. And like you said, there's ways around it. It just makes things a little bit harder. And so far, Coach Drinkwitz has shown that obviously he has a willingness to not leave any stones unturned, and they've recruited really, really well, even when they have to look outside the borders of Missouri. And that's what they're going to obviously have to do again this year, and already have started doing that. But yeah, pretty much almost everybody we talked about today is an out-of-state guy. And it's only June, but typically you're putting in a lot of work in recruiting this time of year. So it's a little bit discouraging, but we'll see how it goes. And another thing that we're just gonna have to wait even longer on is how well Ken Drinkwitz develop these guys, because that was the thing with Pinkel, was it just didn't seem to really matter who they were.
Deny that part of it.
It didn't matter who they were. It didn't matter where they came from, what their status was as a prospect. He was going to develop them. He was going to, it took a little bit of time sometimes, but you could not deny his uncanny ability to develop players. And I think we're perhaps a little bit yet to see that with Drinkwitz. I think this season obviously is a little bit of a culmination point where I think we're going to really see how well these players have developed, because I don't think you can keep using the excuse that everybody's young and everybody is inexperienced, because at this point I think some of these pretty good classes have had enough time to prove themselves.
Definitely. Yep. So as far as this weekend goes, we're going to get a commitment from somebody that we never heard of, probably.
Probably somebody we didn't even talk about.
Yeah. And then we're just going to have to strap in and wait for some of these announcement dates to start popping up.
Yeah, because like I said, we've said this multiple times, but there are many more visitors this weekend that we did not mention today that we just don't even know about at this point. So very well could just be a commitment or two, or in the following weeks or something. And we'll talk about it when it happens.
Was James Madison, I can't remember, did you say he already has a date?
I think it's that first week of July.
Okay. We'll just go ahead and bump that up a little bit. Let's go ahead and do it this weekend.
Go ahead and just announce it now, since you're already committed.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be a weird one to not get after all the
that would be so bizarre
stuff on Twitter.
Yeah. Go look at James Madison's Twitter.
Yeah.
Might have to scroll a little bit.
Okay. Well, we talked about a lot of people there. We'll follow up on all of them as their recruitments unfold. Anything else for the folks this week?
I think that's it.
Special thank you to our Patreon supporters at the $10 level and above: Britt Treese, Brian Smith, Ryan Demore, Tristan. Tristan, this is for you.
Wow.
That was for Tristan.
That was hot.
Ben Smith, Parker Daddy JD, Tim Keens, Tyler Harsel, Brandon Garofalo, Brandon Hanks, Matthew Tilley, Cooper Boyer, thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. You can find this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter at Mizzou Sports Pod, and you can email us at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
You can find our t-shirts and stickers on our online shop, MissouriSportsPod.BigCartel.com.
I had to take my glasses off for that.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you everyone for listening. We will see you next week.